whoever you are, wherever you are, hope you are blessed and doing safe. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings, family. Of course, I'm tuning in. You see me without the glasses off today, but if you're looking for some opportunities, particular advertisement opportunities, then look no further at the link at the bottom to my email address. You can hit me up for advertisement opportunities. We are supporting and promoting your businesses here on this channel. You can also, if you would like to donate and subscribe to our Patreon, a link is at the bottom as well. So you have multiple ways in which you can advertise with the platform by emailing me when we go on through our live stream. You also have access to premium content, those that want to see premium content that you will not find here on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, as I am suspended probably by now. You guys can check out the Patreon at link at the bottom. But advertisement opportunities, definitely email me, Gavin.Rich1@gmail.com for rates. And for the Patreon, it is the same as the YouTube channel. It is channel GBoot2786. All right, I'll holla. Peace. All right, family. Welcome to another exciting edition of Random Topic Thursdays. We are live, and I'm coming at you with 5, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Thursday, February 22nd, and yesterday, for our Black History Moment, ladies and gentlemen, was the 59th anniversary of the assassination of Malcolm X. So tonight, I'm going to dedicate this Black History Moment to Malcolm X because he was our, quote, shining black prince, as Ozzie Davis put it in his eulogy to Malcolm X back in February of 1965. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a news story, of course, courtesy of ABC News. We're going to put up a disclaimer, fair use. Now, hold on, let me put myself on the screen. Boom, there we go. I know a lot of you probably thought I wasn't going to come on live because I said I was going to be taking a hiatus, which I am. But I was going to be doing some shows periodically off and on. And while I had to, I couldn't turn down doing a Thursday night with y'all right now. So I wanted to, there's a couple of things we want to talk about. But first, because I saw this now, it's not new, especially several years ago. There was evidence that there was a conspiracy to kill Malcolm X that was discovered recently, where the New York Police Department had to admit, I guess, its role in the assassination. There was a letter, an affidavit. Ben Crump, of course, represents I believe the family of Malcolm X, his children and so forth, or rather the man who was falsely accused of killing Malcolm X, if I'm not mistaken, and he's involved in that. But I want to play this video. So there's new evidence, but we've heard this before. If you have seen in a show of hands, by a show of hands in the chat, the documentary Who Killed Malcolm X that was on Netflix, we know that there were several people involved in the assassination, not just members of the Nation of Islam, but also government people, CIA, FBI in particular, New York Police Department. The man standing who was in charge of Malcolm's security, Gene Roberts, was a known police officer. He actually, before he died, had a deathbed confession admitting to this. So we're going to play this. Hold on.
Along with attorney Ben Crump, are announcing 2 new witnesses that are offering evidence in the alleged conspiracy case surrounding his assassination. According to Crump's legal team, the new witnesses are learning that there were security associates of Malcolm X, and they were arrested just a week before he was killed. They've never spoken publicly before. For more, let's bring in our ABC News legal contributor, Brian Buckmeyer. So let's talk about this new evidence that was put forward today. What do you think of this, Brian?
Well, it's interesting, Kira. Don't forget, let's think about it in context of what we know from the assassination of Malcolm X. It happened, as you said, 59 years to the date. He was giving a speech at a newly formed organization, and he was shot 21 times. Now, his security guards, as we've heard in the past, has stopped some of the people he believed to be assailants. The new information that we're getting coming forward now is how law enforcement, both federal and the NYPD, intercepted these kind of like, let's call them citizens arrests and the security guards of Malcolm X. And that's what Ben Crump and his associates are arguing not only inhibited the ability to arrest the perpetrators of this crime, but then concealed their actions afterwards. And that makes sense when you think about the fact that Ben Crump is suing the federal agencies and the NYPD for both the concealment and the kind of obstruction, as they put it, of justice to figure out who in fact killed Malcolm X.
And let's talk about why this has taken so long for these 2 witnesses to be found and why they're being heard from now.
I think part of it is just as time progresses, more information comes out. We've seen this in so many other high-profile cases, like the death of Jam Master Jay, which being prosecuted currently in the EDNY, the death of Tupac Shakur. We're now seeing litigation for that criminal case now.
What's happening is everybody is dying and they want to leave with a clean conscience. Because all of us got to give an accounting to the Lord once we breathe our last breath and shut our eyes and our heart beats its last beat. They've had this information before. Don't think that they didn't. Why isn't it coming forward now? No, they've had it beforehand. You all can look up what's called the Hayer affidavits that were made in the late 1970s. Where they had the Hayer affidavits was made by Samaj Hayer, who was one of the assassins that was there at the Audubon Ballroom. And he stated when he was convicted in 3 men were convicted in 1965, Hayer, Norman 3X Butler, and Thomas Johnson. He denied any involvement, but during the trial, he confessed to having fired shots at Malcolm X. He testified that Butler and Johnson were not present and were not involved in the shooting, but he declined to name the men who had joined him in the attack. And let's not forget, I think it was Butler. Butler's been released. Johnson had been released, and I believe what happened is that since Johnson was deceased, one of the men was deceased, the New York District Attorney's Office, they overturned Aziz's conviction. Aziz was known as Norman 3X Butler. They overturned it. And they also overturned Thomas Johnson's conviction. Thomas Johnson was posthumously, because Thomas Johnson was deceased. But a third co-defendant, Muhajid Abdul Hakim, had his second-degree murder conviction upheld, and he remains on parole. But they had this information before, the Hayer affidavits. We continue.
As time goes by, people feel that there are less fear of coming forward with information. I think many people within this community, rightfully so, based on what was going on in terms of assassinations, feared law enforcement, feared the FBI who were surveilling Malcolm X and Martin Luther King at this time, and also feared the NYPD, that if they came forward, their cries would not be heard, that they would either be persecuted or prosecuted or something even worse. Now, almost 60 years later, I think there's a greater comfort to come forward. And also, a lot of these people are nearing the twilight or the end of their life, and they want to kind of have some sort of catharsis to say, I know information about this. It's long past due. I feel safe now at this point. Let's try to ultimately and hopefully find justice for Malcolm X.
All right. Well, let's talk about Malcolm X's family now and, what they really want to see happen next in this case.
So a lot of this case, as Ben Crump and those who spoke today, came around FOIA requests, the Freedom of Information Act. It's now been 59 years, and you would think that with so much time passed by, that both the federal agencies and local authorities who have interviews, investigatory steps that were taken, documents around this case, would release that information to the public for Ben Crump and his associates to make the proper assessment of what happened, alongside with those interviews and affidavits that they provided with today. But they're saying they're being stonewalled at every turn. At one point, Ben even said that the agency said, we can't give this information to you for privacy reasons because Malcolm X may still be alive. Such an insult to the family. I think Ben Crump said it best in pushing back on that narrative, that this is about justice not only for a local community, but for an international community. And he wants these answers found out for these families and their lifetime and not another.
All right, Brian Buckmeyer, always appreciate having you for the analysis.
So,
hi, everyone.
Good to do this, 50, almost 60 years after the assassination, and there's new evidence that they have. And they say law enforcement is in on it, which they were. They have another video from CBS New York where they point the finger at law enforcement, but law enforcement was just a part of it, just like the Kennedy assassination, MLK's assassination, and even Bobby Kennedy's assassination. LAPD, or New York Police Department, or NYPD, and the Dallas Police Department and the Memphis Police Department all had a role in those assassinations, but they were not the ones calling the shots. All of it you look at had some rogue element of a government agency involved in that. You all remember my video I did with Judge Joe Brown. We documented that. Judge Joe Brown, of course, was the last judge to hear the appeal of James Earl Ray. And I would just like to say today we salute Malcolm X, our shining black prince, more than 59 years since his passing. We love you madly, and we miss you. Taking a play for my man, Ron Hurd. Shout out to him. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button, ladies and gentlemen. So, I'm weighing in solo tonight. You all see the Cash App. You can contribute to our channel and contribute to me, GavinRichardEsq. What shall we talk about tonight? So tonight, ladies and gentlemen, the big news and big thing that happened today, if you were unable to use your phone, if you had AT&T, you had a widespread outage across the country. And AT&T, interestingly enough, is tight-lipped about it. So we don't know what happened. AT&T doesn't know what happened, but millions of people were about, I think, at least 75% of the country, because AT&T, I believe, is the largest provider of cell phone. They're the largest phone provider in the country. But they were hit. It wasn't just AT&T. According to this, Verizon and T-Mobile were hit by massive nationwide cell outages. Now, this is coming courtesy of my local channel, my local news, WWL. We're going to listen to some news right here, and I got to put that fair use button up, put that fair use banner in there. Thank you, Danielle. It's a pleasure to see you here. How's the babies? You're likely right. It probably is Savior's Day week with the Nation of Islam. I'm a model. Okay, hold up. So that's interesting. All right, let's go back and play this again.
Is slowly restoring in our area, a nationwide outage is going on, and it has impacted thousands of people, with many of them here in Southeast Louisiana. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Leslie Spoon. AT&T had the most impacted by far, with tens of thousands of customers affected. A map from earlier this morning showed our area was a hotspot, along with other cities like Houston, Dallas, and Atlanta. Some Verizon, T-Mobile, U.S. Cellular, and consumer cellular customers also had issues, but mostly encountered those issues while trying to contact an AT&T customer. We spoke to a woman outside the AT&T store in St. Charles who said there was a long line when she got there this morning.
It's a lot going on. This is messing up people's lives. Like, I had to get a fake number to call my mom. She was like, I wasn't going to answer that. She thought I was a bill collector, so that's terrible.
AT&T released a statement this morning saying, in part, quote, our network teams took immediate action, and so far 3/4 of our network has been restored. We're working as quickly as possible to restore service to remaining
Funny what you can do with these things, man. You can make them sound like they're drunk, but like they're on
Verizon and
speed.
T-Mobile say their services are now fully operational. If your phone says SOS and you happen to have an emergency call, you will still be able to call 911. But again, that's only for emergencies. Otherwise, you can use your Wi-Fi to make a call. Here's how to do it. Go to your phone settings, click on cellular, then turn on Wi-Fi calling. I still am not even able to do this. Our local sheriff's offices say their phones are working.
But we don't know what caused it, and that's the thing. They won't say what caused it. And you know, you have a society now, as a society, that relies heavily on the internet, that relies heavily on electronics, especially cell phones, where news, of course, as we know, moves at the speed of light. It is very disturbing, to say the least, that this was we were hit with an outage, and yet we don't know what the cause of it is. Some people are wondering, could this have been signs of an attack, a test of some sorts of an attack? Skynet becomes aware. Who knows? Now, T-Mobile issued a statement saying that their network did not experience an outage. They said our network is operating normally. Down detector is likely reflecting challenges our customers were having attempting to connect to users on other networks. AT&T issued a statement. They said, some of our customers are experiencing wireless service interruptions this morning. We are working urgently to restore service to them. We encourage the use of Wi-Fi calling until service is restored. So that's scary, though, as to what happened. How many of you have AT&T? I have AT&T. Oh, I can believe that, Danielle. You still got the rotary phone. Danielle's so old, her phone, she talks like this. Hello, hello. Man, all the phones went out. I made this joke earlier today. I said, man, if only women could be like AT&T and their communications just shut down for once, that would be great. Oh man, the communication, it'd be lovely, man. We would have peace. There would be peace on earth, goodwill towards men. Literally. Man. So yeah, but we don't know what caused it. So that's the thing that's scary about that. I was watching it on CBS. I think it was NBC News did this. People are wondering, was it a failure or an attack? Who knows? And the FCC is going to be investigating this. So let's listen to this.
And it's great to have you on the program, Bob, as you have a lot of experience with these critical infrastructure issues. Again, we don't know for sure yet what's going on or what went on here earlier today. I said earlier in the show, it does seem to raise some questions, though, about whether or not the country's ready if this was some sort of a cyber attack. And we don't know here, but what about the questions about whether somebody was coming after us? Are we ready?
Yeah, sure. I appreciate Evan's reporting there that at this point there's nothing that we've seen that would indicate that this is a cyber attack. And I would agree with those government officials looking at that question. And it's important that gets investigated. It's important that the FBI and CISA and the Federal Communications Commission have access to what AT&T is learning about, so that we can confirm with certainty that it was not a cyber attack. Outages like this, the ability for a cyber attack to cause outage like this, if an adversary tries to do something like that, we still think that that's a plausible thing that can happen. And so having the testing what would happen with outages and how resilient the system is to the system, to phone service being down, gives us a way to test how resilient we can be. If there's a cyber attack that would have this level of consequence. Again, there's no reason at this point to think there is. The good news is the service is back up and running, and there's probably have not been significant cascading impacts on other critical infrastructure from AT&T being down. That's always something that I used to worry about is, one thing happens and that causes cascading impacts, causes systemic effect, and all of a sudden, communities are in real bad shape. In this case, it doesn't seem to happen.
I was thinking about it earlier. It's just we're so reliant on our cell phones. We have been for years, but now even older people don't have in many cases landlines anymore. Hardly anybody does. I mean, some people do, but I don't know very many people have a landline phone in their house, right? So the USA Today headline I put up that the phone companies want to eliminate traditional landlines. What's at stake and who loses? And when I say I was thinking about it earlier, I was wondering, for emergency services, 911 and all that, is the system that we have now that is reliant on cellular networks strong enough? Is it as strong as it was in the old days when everybody had a landline?
So in emergency services, the good news is we've invested since 9/11 in something that the Department of Commerce stood up, the FirstNet services, which AT&T actually operates, which emergency services have access to. So they're not reliant on only traditional cell networks. And from FirstNet's reporting today, their services were able to withstand outages. So there have been investments made in redundant 911 capabilities, E911 capabilities. I don't think for emergency services going back to landlines is the answer.
Right.
I am a fan of consumer choice, so I hope the companies enable consumers who want to have access to landlines to continue to have access to landlines for their own preference and their own personal preparedness, because they may not have access to emergency service backup capability. But I don't think as a nation we need to have terrestrial landline backups when we've made such investment in E911 and 911 and in FirstNet.
Right. Thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your television.
Well, that's interesting. So yeah, man, we don't know what happened. He seemed nervous. Somebody said he seemed nervous. A lot of anxiety there. It was millions. Yeah, it wasn't 70,000 people. It was a nationwide outage. 70,000 people would have only been maybe one major city. When you have millions, that's more than 70,000. And that's more than just in one major city. That was nationwide. So they should get a credit for the day. Yeah. Where's the evidence? Where's the proof of it? Well, if it is the FCC, how do we expect the government to look into something, especially if they were the ones who probably did it? I don't know. And I don't want to speculate because I could say the wrong thing and then end up like Tasha K. I don't want that to happen. I get Kevin Hart. Okay, so you talking about the government. You put dirt on my name. Not cool. Not cool. Cool. All right? Is it cool? Cool. No dirt on my name. Cool. Hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Also, buy that book on Kindle. Cool. It's a good book. It's about my brother from Philly, Dr. William H. Cosby, and how he was wrongfully imprisoned. Buy that book. Cool. Boy was playing with my service. I had service before him. That nigga was hanging with Steve Harvey. Him and Steve Harvey were messing with my damn service. And it's a man unit. Man, I'm amazed. That I can do Cat Williams now. because I'm not trembling with fear, and I certainly hate you, Wanda. And I'm gonna embarrass you as an inferior comic, ma'am, because your gnarled fingers couldn't run through my hair, and I ran circles on you on the radio. Yes, indeedy. You big on the radio. You shouldn't be talking about sizes, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, no, no. Get on out of here. You just cost me another job. Now I gotta really work the toilets. I gotta clean them. Only one of our phones are working right now. Yes, come run your gnarled fingers on my iPhone here, ma'am, with no outer box. Two people have a problem with their phone. Two people in the world who messed up their internet coverage and their Wi-Fi calling. Cat Williams and Mike Epps. Two. AT&T and T-Mobile. Two companies that ruined their internet and Wi-Fi calling for their customers. Cool, cool. You messed up, boy. I can't do Mike. I gotta learn how to do Mike Epps, man. I gotta listen to him a little bit more. But you know, Mike Epps at the shop, we made peace. We had to do it. I went to Country Kitchen. We sat down and I had some chicken. I had some red beans with that as well. And Mike Epps, I think he had a salad. I told him he needed to get on that salad diet, Skip, because he had to get in shape. And we made peace. I even followed him out the door. I even walked him to his car like any man. Eddie Griffin. Shannon Sharp is gay. Club gay, nigga. I can't do Eddie Griffin too well. I gotta listen to him. I gotta listen to Eddie. Some of them I can do their mannerisms, but I can't do that. Like if I do Eddie Murphy, for instance, I can only do Eddie Murphy from one movie. Eddie Murphy from one movie that I actually sound like him, and that would be Harlem Nights. So it would be, there's a craps in the bar table. Don't come up, Cheryl. Tell Vera to bring her fat ass back here, man. That's the only thing I know. So what else? Nutty Professor. Cletus. You know. That's right, Skip. So anyway, last thing I want to talk about is issue that I saw on NBC News. How many of you have heard of this? In Texas, there is something known as the Crown Act. Now, in different states, I think they have it even in California, they have passed this legislation that prevents discrimination based on hair and, you know, different styles of hair, cornrows, dreads, and so forth. Essentially, that applies to, we know, the only group of people mainly that wears that style, of course, is us, Black people. And today, a ruling came out from a judge. This is courtesy of Anahuac, I hope I'm pronouncing Anahuac, Texas, where a judge ruled that a high school was not violating the state's Crown Act by punishing a Black teen over his dreadlocks. Now, this is in the Barbers Hill Independent School District, and they have policies that are in place, basically, that state that a student, and I'm going to play the video, cannot wear, when their hair is of a boy, I guess goes a certain length. They basically asked him to cut his hair. Well, they did ask him to cut his hair because even though he has his dreads rolled up above on top of his head, they argue that if he were able to let his dreads down, then it would be a violation of school policy. Now, this sounds like, let me just explain a couple of things. There's a difference, of course, between public and private. When you're dealing with private schools, like for instance, I went to St. Augustine University, and I distinctly remember when I was a kid, St. Aug was basically, if you're from the New Orleans area, you're familiar with it, it is a Catholic school, and they ran it like a boot camp. It was ran like a military. You had to listen to the teachers and so forth. They had the board of discipline. They also had a dress code, how you had to wear your tie every day. You have your belt, your shoes. You had to have them shined. You had how you had carried yourself every morning. You were in that hallway, and they would inspect you. That stuff would go on. So, but the thing is that, and even with the haircuts, they would send kids home if their afros were too big, if they had their hair a certain way, you couldn't dread it and have it down. But the thing is, it's a private school, so private schools have a little more leeway with their rules. However, of course, if you're talking about the 70s, that was a different time with my dad and my uncles went there. That was a different time. Now, with public schools is different because you're dealing with now state school, and then the Constitution rules apply. Of course, everybody, private and public, have to follow laws, but certain ones, obviously private, have a little bit more leeway. This, of course, happened in a public school. Now, what you had here was this young man by the name of Darryl George was punished because his hair was long. Now, I want you to listen to this. This is courtesy of NBC News. And let's see, am I going to get a copyright strike? I'm going to put fair use up, but this is how they go at black men. I want y'all to listen to this, okay? So, hold on.
Morgan Chesky is live in Dallas. The student, Darryl George, has been out of the classroom, I think, for the better part of a year now. What was the decision?
Yeah, Chris, I want to read you the judge's words exactly here, saying that the district's policy, that being Barber Hill District outside of Houston, does not prohibit nor does it discriminate against male students who wear braids, locks, or twists, adding the Crown Act does not render unlawful those portions of Barber Hill's dress code. Those were the judge's words earlier today, just a short time ago, in fact, in the case of Darryl George, this 18-year-old high school junior who hasn't been able to sit in class with the rest of his classmates, Chris, because the district says that even though he wears his hair up in locks, if it's let down, it would violate the school's policy. And so in turn, he is now suspended. And the judge siding with the district, saying that their stance on that does not violate Texas's Crown Act, which was enacted back in September of 2023 to try and prevent race-based hair discrimination. More than 20 other states have adopted similar policies. And the family, we've already heard from them, Chris, they do plan to appeal. We have not heard direct.
So they're saying if the hair is let down, it's going to violate it. But if the boy is going to school with his hair braided up, so it's not let down, what's the problem? Y'all remember when they did this to the young man, the brother who was the wrestler, and they made him cut his locks while he was in the gymnasium when he was about to wrestle? That referee made him cut his locks. Nobody stood up for that young man. Nobody stood up for that kid.
From them on camera, but we know that a Texas state rep supporting them today had this to say following that judge's ruling. Take a listen.
I think we've got to remember that this is about Darryl, and to see that young man crying, he didn't understand. We couldn't explain it to him. We tried to explain it to him. He just wants to learn. And he just wants to be normal. His mom was so physically shaken. Like, I was worried about her. Are you okay? Do I need to get you some water? Please pray for this family.
And we did have a chance to hear from that 18-year-old prior to today's court hearing, where he shared that he was angry that this fight has to continue on despite policies such as the Crown Act being enacted as recently as last fall. Again, the family says they plan to appeal, but no date has been set on when this ongoing legal saga will resume here. Chris?
We've seen in Alabama that Supreme Court ruling regarding.
Oh, Nikki Haley, I'll just hang this shit up. Family spokesperson Candace Matthews stated that they were planning to appeal, obviously, this decision, but more specifically, she said, I can't get, she quoted George as saying, all because of my hair. He said, I can't get my education because of my hair. I can't be around my peers and enjoy my junior year because of my hair. The family has stated they have vowed not to lay down. They would continue to fight. The decision is the latest development in a months-long battle between George's family and the Barbers Hill Independent School District. A member of the district, a representative, Sarah Leon, stated, we appreciate the clarification for the court because it's an important question. We're glad to understand what the law means. George is a junior at Mount Bellevue outside of Houston, and he has been in school suspension or at an off-site disciplinary program since August, when school officials said George's hair violated a dress code regulating the length of the boy's hair. So, according to the student handbook, this is courtesy of NBC News, male students' hair cannot extend past the eyebrows or earlobes. This is him just trying to mess over somebody. They're just trying to mess over this kid. They make up the rules just to break them. Now, legally speaking, while this district court judge has made this decision, they of course can appeal it if they believe that the judge made some type of error in his interpretation of the law and or facts. I think that you may see that on appeal, although given that this is Texas, that might be a little hard. And he filed it, looks like, was this in the Dallas area? Or Houston? If it happened in Houston, I'm wondering why it wasn't filed in Houston. Because it looks like the reporter was in Dallas, and as I'm looking at this, Barbers Hill School District, this is Anock, Texas, where this is coming from. I just want to look up where this is. Anybody that's from Dallas or from the Texas area know where that place is? Okay, so this is how you pronounce it. Aniwak. Aniwak. Cha, cha. Aniwak. Cha, cha. I see here. So it is the alligator capital of Texas. And the city has a population of less than 2,000 people. All right. Wow. And that's in Chambers County. Okay. So that might make more sense. So that's in the greater, that's part of, it's one of the 9 counties that encompasses the greater Houston, Woodland, Sugarlands metropolitan statistical area. So I'm just looking at this. And I'm trying to see who this judge is. Judge Chap Cain. The state district judge, Chap Cain. Chap Cain III. Chap Cain. Chap Cain was on cocaine when he made this decision. Let's see. This is Chap Cain. Enough said. Yeah, y'all see this. That's Chap Cain. a Republican. According to this, I'm looking at consulting websites. So they're actually saying that Cain is forcing hundreds of defendants to take expensive polygraph tests, and only one company is allowed to administer them. An investigation by Dolcefino Consulting includes complaints from probationers. They have to pay cash and get no receipts from polygraph company owner Jules Peterson. I don't want to play this. It's a long video. I'm getting off topic, but I'm just looking up some stuff on Judge Cain. Cain, coming to destroy you. Cain was the drug dealer. Does the drug dealer in RoboCop 2, the main villain. Cain, let's step outside. Cain from WWE. Yeah, so what they basically are alleging in this is that the judge made them switch companies, which I'm assuming, I haven't looked at the video, I don't want to say the wrong thing, he might have ties with. So that's interesting stuff about Mr. Cain. Or Judge Cain, I should say. But getting back to this boy, I'm going to reach out to his family in Houston. I'm going to reach out to them because that upsets me that this black boy is missing school for over a year over a ridiculous policy, which essentially does keep him from out of school. How does it hurt him? I mean, how does it hurt the school if his hair is braided up and he's not going into, he's not letting his hair down? That's because ladies and gentlemen, it's to embarrass this kid. It's to embarrass young black men. See, Sin, I thought the Trump sneakers pissed me off. Oh, come on, it's not that bad. It's gold. It's beautiful. It's terrific. You can run in them. You can swim in them. You can even hold your records in your house with them. And it's not good. It's not bad. It's not good. It's terrific. Okay? Cece, pissing me off. Don't believe it. Don't be rude. Don't be rude. These school officials in Texas, Barbers Hills, you're stupid. You're as stupid as Rosie. Okay? It's bad. You're as useless as Pocahontas. It's not terrific. You're bad. You're as bad as Sleepy Joe. Okay? It's rude. It's rude. Rude. That's why I vote them. That's why I vote green. Because it's just like the spinach on my Subway sandwich. Eat fresh, Erna. Now, yeah, those guys in Texas, those are idiots. Barber Hills. You know what? I think we all got to make a phone call to the Barbers Hills district to show our support for this kid, Mr. Darryl George. Let's show our support for young Darryl. I'm going to look up and contact the Barbers Hill Independent School District, writing them a letter, just telling them how frustrated and saddened I am that they're keeping a kid out of school over some foolishness, which I'm sure, if I don't know how long he's had his hair like that, but I'm assuming if he went to this school with his hair braided up like that before and I don't know how soon they had these policies. That's another question. When did they have this Crown? Before they had the Crown Act, how long did they have this policy in that school? Because if he's a junior now, he can't, and he's been out for a year. He was a sophomore. So was he wearing his hair like that as a freshman? Nobody complained about it. Why was it a complaint? Why was it a complaint now, as he's a freshman and sophomore? So he's missed his junior year. Embarrassing. Well, anyway, family, we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank you all. I just came in. This was going to be a brief show. Smash up the likes, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And I will see you all next time somewhere soon, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Be one, be safe, and be blessed. I'll holla. Don't be rude. Peace. Peace and hair grease to you. Except the Democrats. Except Sleepy Joe and Pocahontas. They don't need peace and hair grease, okay? I'm the one with the grease. Okay? They're rude. That judge in New York knows nothing. She's bad. She's real bad. Knows nothing at all. Don't be rude. Be safe and be blessed. It's Friday tomorrow. Enjoy. Weekend's here. It's perfect. It's going to be great. I'm going to Mar-a-Lago. I'm going to enjoy my hot Russian wife. Well, stone-faced wife. My kids who do my bidding. And they're going to be rude to the Dems. They're going to be rude. It's going to be bad for them. It's going to be great for us. It's going to be terrific. All right. Peace. I'm going to put, before I go to Real Talk, I will put in the chat the Barber Hills School District. So, their website we can go to where I'm sure you can contact them, and we're going to let them know how we feel about this young brother. All right. That's the website link in the chat. Give him a call tomorrow, family.